Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday, September 30th. Welcome back to My Free Life. Thank you for being here and hanging out with the Free Life Squad. My name is Saxx Williams, and I'm going to be the one to take care of y'all today. So today's video is going to be real short, at least this morning's video, because it's something that I think I need to bring to y'all's attention. So I figured I'd do a little video over one of my own videos, but it's not because I'm trying to review one of my own videos. It's because the content in this other video is very important. It's a machine that I had built a few years back that I think y'all need to get hip on because things is getting really crazy right now in the world, and being able to produce your own energy is probably a blessing and something that most of y'all probably need to know how to do. And I can guarantee you, probably about 85–90% of you has never even heard of this technology. And it is old. It is very old, dated all the way back to the early 1920s. Back in the war days, they used this technology so they could divert all their other resources toward the war. So this is called gasification, and this machine is called a gasifier. Now I'm going to just briefly touch on this today, just bringing the attention to these other videos that I've got that I teach you how to build these machines, including showing you the one that I built, which is right here. All right, so this is me a couple years ago. This video is a couple years old, and that little green mean machine you're looking at in the background is the machine that I built, which is called a gasifier, gasification, which is taking biomatter, and in my case, wood, and running it through a state of paralysis in a oxygen-controlled environment. So basically, we're extracting the natural wood gas out of the wood, which in turn turns it into a combustible gas. So think of the gas lines you got running into your house if you have a gas stove. Same thing, only derived from wood or biomass. It doesn't have to be wood, but wood burns clean. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to touch base on a couple points of this machine. And I built this whole thing just out of stuff laying around my garage. You know, now obviously it's steel. You got to weld it. But it takes nothing. You know, you build your reactor. I built my reactor out of just an old air tank, an air bubble. Um, and I used like an old fire extinguisher to make my um, first filter out of cyclone filter is what it's called. But anyway, let's touch base on a couple of these things because I don't want this to be a very long video. The point of this is just bringing attention to this, and then I'll put links to the build at the end of this so you can go watch the whole thing. But this literally creates free energy, free gas, and you take that wood gas in return, or in turn, and I convert that wood gas into electricity by I'll just show you. All right, I'll just show you. So it's not hard if you understand how it works, and it's not hard to understand how it works, especially if you watch my video. I explain the whole thing, not this video, but the actual video. So let's just touch on a couple things real quick. And sorry I look so crazy back there. Here we go.
Could I go ahead and make a video, and I'll add some animation in between it to kind of help you understand what's going on inside of this machine here and how it works. So let's get started on that. So the main tank here is the reactor. So what I did is I had an old air compressor sitting around. The motor didn't work anymore, so I pulled the motor off and decided to use the main tank to create my reactor out of, which is only from here to here. I'll explain what all the other stuff is in a minute. But so this is just an air compressor tank that I cut a hole out of the side and welded some flat iron square out so I could make a plate to be able to clean out the ashes as I burn. And we'll get to that in more detail as well.
So that's what it looks like on the inside of that tank. All right, I don't know what was going on there. All right, so anyway, all right, the video's still there. That was had me nervous for a second, y'all.
They hang the length of the burn tube.
So let's just see if we can.
Air compressor tank. So this became the cyclone filter, which this center pipe here runs all the way down to about 2 inches from the bottom of this tank. So as the draw comes in from here, when it's burning, it pulls through this pipe, goes into the top of the cyclone filter, and in theory the smoke spins around the center pipe as it's coming in an angle, forcing the smoke to spin around, come down. This is a drip jar to catch tar and water, things you don't want to be trying to pump to your carburetor. So it pumps through that, but as you're pulling the air through, at the bottom of this cyclone filter is this tube, which sucks up the cleaner gas that you're creating, because most of your tars and things like that will stick to the side of this tank as it spins and goes down. And then of course this is the drip jar, so it drips down into here. You can take the jar off and pour it out. Moving on. So as the smoke pulls from your reactor into the cyclone filter, spins around.
And I don't want to hear it. I already know y'all gonna be talking about my welding skills. I ain't got no welding skills. I suck at welding, but my brother is a welder and has the welder, so I made this anyway, and it works just fine. But I won't hear all your comments about them ugly beads, okay? Whatever. I'm creating free energy. So, let's get back to it. All right. Let's see here. Back that up just a little bit.
Stick to the side of this tank as it spins and goes down. And then of course this is the drip jar, so it drips down into here. You can take the jar off and pour it out. Moving on. So as the smoke pulls from your reactor into the cyclone filter, spins around, drips out tar and nastiness, water, pretty much a lot of water, and then sucks up from the pipe inside, comes out, pulls through this pipe, this down pipe here, which is cleaner gas than what was there, comes down. And what I've done is I've added a secondary drip jar. Now the jar is right here. I've got it off because I'm getting ready to mount this to a trailer, and I cut the legs off of this, so there's not enough room sitting here for this jar to go on. But you can understand the jar spins onto this here, secondary drip jar. Here I've added another valve, or the first control valve, so I can limit the amount of gas that's pulled through it, or I can open it all the way up, whatever's making it run best as it's running. So that goes down into the radiator that I built. Now I'll explain the radiator to you. The gases are pulled through that tube up into the radiator. The gas goes through the radiator, separates in each one of these tubes going up to cool the gas down before it goes to my final filter, which I made this radiator out of 1 1/4 inch square tubing. I made the whole frame out of it, but the radiator in general is specifically is 1 1/4 inch square tubing, 1/8 inch thick. And I took these gas line pipes, used a hole saw to drill the holes out in the square tubing, only one side obviously, and then welded these pipes into it. That way the gas could flow in through here, separate through each one of these up pipes, allowing that gas to cool so you're able to burn it better at the end of your burn, and then pulls down into this filter, which this filter is a medium filter. So I've got it filled up with basically hamster cage, well not basically, it is hamster cage wood shavings. So it goes into the bottom.
I thought I was going to do that again.
Of this, into the bottom of this filter. Let me see if I can get it. There you go. Up into the bottom of this filter here. And it pulls the gas up through the filter, through the medium, cleaning out the last of the impurities. Well, not particularly the last of them, but a lot of them, getting it much cleaner. And then up top, I will show you, perhaps, if I can do it with one hand. So this is an airtight, this was actually an old military missile chamber to transport single missiles at a time in. So I thought it was a pretty good thing to use. Picked it up at a called the Yard metal store. So this is the medium filter that I'm using. So as you can see, the pipe here is where all the pull's coming through. So it pulls the gas up through that, cleans the gas up, then comes into this line, which is where I have my fan. Now this fan is a air mattress fan, so it's got the in and out. So I piped this fan in here to be able to pull all the gas through the reactor, and you got to have a pretty good fan. It's got a lot of sucking to do. It's got to go through all of these bends and curves and through the radiator and then all the way out. So outside of this fan goes into the pipe that is piped down to here, which this is a T that I have in here, and I've got valves on either ends of this that I can shut off or turn on. So this is the line that I've got made for pumping out to your generator or lawnmower, your carburetor on your car, whatever you want to do to utilize that fuel in a combustion engine. But with this shut off, I just pipe it straight up here. I keep this on and I pipe it up to my torch. So the way I know when the fuel's ready is I keep this off, so no gas is coming out of here, no fuel's coming out of there, and have this line on. And it usually takes about 5 or 6 minutes for this to get up to temperature to go through its process to be able to extract the gas out of it. And then I'll fire this torch up. When I got that torch burning real good, I know it's ready to go. I'll shut the torch valve off here, forcing the gas to come this way, open this gas line up and pump it to whatever I want to. This plate comes off, which I just made a box, welded a box around that. Obviously cut the tank open inside, welded a box around that, and made a plate that bolts on with a gasket in between it to make sure it's completely airtight. So whenever this gets filled up with ash, or actually it's going to be biochar at the end of this burn, oxygen deprived environment, it's going to give you great biochar, which we'll talk about later. You can use in a lot of different applications as well. It's really good stuff. But anyway, the plate comes off and I clean it out. So this here is the intake port, so, or the ignition port, I mean, rather. So when you fire this up, I open this, stick a piece of newspaper right here, crank up the fan, and it's a major vacuum in there. So as soon as you light that paper, it just sucks that flame in there. It sounds like a jet almost, which lights the biofuel I've got in there, the biomass that I've got in there. And as soon as that lights, of course, I cap it off, deprive it of its oxygen, come up top, and I open up my air intake to regulate how much air I want to be able to pull through this system, whatever is working best for the temperatures outside and everything else that goes along with it. This is just an old pan that I made, I didn't make, that I cut out to fit over my intake port here, because this is my hopper where I feed it. So got wood pellets down in there, and this is just so I can have more fuel in this particular build, so it burns longer.
Okay, so like I said, we don't need to go through this whole video because I have a video. You can go watch the video. But I want to show you. I'm going to skip toward the end to where I fire this thing up. So what I'm using for my biomass fuel is wood pellets, but it doesn't have to be wood pellets. It could be wood shavings, whatever. But it does have to be dry. You very dry. You don't want no moisture going inside of this. It's going to mess up the paralysis. So let's slide, and then after we finish covering a few parts of this video, then I am going to bring. Okay, sorry. After this, I'm going to bring up another video where I show you uses of this machine. So let's transition over here.
This works. First, we're going to open up this ignition port.
And that's back home in Kansas, in Wichita, where I came from. I live in Texas now, but this machine is still at that house right now. That's my brother's house. So what we're doing right now is we're getting ready to ignite the biofuel inside.
put that through that ignition port like that. Turn on the fan. We'll crank it all the way up. Crank that all the way up.
So before anybody says anything, and you're like, well, wait a minute. If you have to have electricity to run it, then how's that going to work? Well, because this is all going to be a self-contained system, and you'll understand that whenever I skip over a couple of these other parts of these other videos. The whole machine will run completely independent by itself. But getting this started, I have to have electricity to it to run the fan. But the fan won't run off of, you know, plugged into the house. The fan will run off of a battery. But the battery is built into the system, which will always keep itself charged, which will always in turn run the fan, which will always produce the gas. So, and I cover that in detail throughout these couple videos of this machine here. But anyway, I just wanted to cover that real quick so you didn't get confused in these little bitty spurts of what I'm covering right now.
Yep. Gonna have this valve turned off, so it's not pulling any air through the top of this. That way we got a nice vacuum inside of here. And you hear that air sucking through there. That up.
So right now inside of that machine, the only thing that's going on is there's air being sucked in from that top valve. All my other valves are shut off. So there's air being sucked in there, and it's creating a very serious vacuum in there, which will pull this flame in, light the fuel inside the bottom of that basket on the inside of this tank, and then it'll start the process of pyrolysis. But anyway, just kind of want to touch little bases here and there, just so you're not completely confused from just watching this little bit of stuff. But the point of me doing this video, y'all, let me switch this little screen over. The entire point of me doing this, Free Life Squad, for y'all folks, is because things are really crazy right now in the world. I know you have noticed. And building something this simple can literally and will literally give you power. As long as there's wood to burn, which will be forever, you can always create your own electricity, your own energy, your own wood gas, so combustible gas that you can use that way, or through this machine that I'm building that takes that and then turns this into electricity. It's just knowledge that y'all really need to know, and you should really not waste your time on building something like this. And yours will probably be much prettier than mine. Like I said, I'm broke. My whole life I've been broke, so I made this out of stuff sitting around the house. But you got a couple dollars to spend, and you can get good stuff, and you actually know how to weld properly, or want to pay somebody else to do the welding. It's nothing. The benefits from this machine way outweigh not having it and the little cost that you might spend producing it.
Suck that flame straight down into that ignition port. Now you can see that fuel in there starting to light up, turn into a cherry. So let's go ahead and close this off. Come up here, open this valve up, let some air in. And go ahead and open it all the way up right now. So right now it's heating up the fuel that's inside of this reactor. It's coming in as it heats up, sucking up through this pipe into the cyclone filter, down the cyclone filter, up that center tube, through the drip jars, all the way up here, blowing nice and hard. We ought to get some smoke out of there here pretty quick. So starting to smoke. Been going for about 2 minutes. I don't know if you can see the smoke. Let's see if I can put something behind it. It might be hard for you to see, but it's smoking already. Let's see if we can light it already. Ready. That's already burning wood gas, but it ain't staying lit by itself yet. I don't know if that's the wind or if I just need to let it get a little bit hotter. But also, probably turn.
So the significance of what's going on right now is what's burning on this side is gases pulled from the wood inside. So it's turned it from a solid wood matter, runs it through pyrolysis, turns it into a wood gas, runs through the little machine to try to clean the gas up, cool the gas down so that it can be burned on the other end. So that's what you're seeing right now is the burn off from creating that wood gas, which is it can run anything combustible. So cars, lawnmowers, anything with combustible fuel.
Turn down that fan a little bit. Slow that fan down. Definitely there, maybe another minute. It'll be ready to stay lit by itself. There it goes. All right, went off another 30 seconds or something probably for it to get nice and right temperature, but all together, hell, we're still under 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Turn that fan down a little bit more. And there we go.
So and also, I put a variable speed controller on that fan. So basically, I used went to Walmart or maybe HEB or not HEB. What am I talking about? We don't got HEB in Kansas. Home Depot, but I got a variable speed controller. So like it's for your lights, for dimming your lights in your house. But what it does, it allows a certain amount of power to go through that. So therefore, I can change the speed of that fan, because gasifiers are really temperamental. The temperature outside, how hot, how cold it is, how much air you're sucking through the machine, and every machine will be different. They're very temperamental. So all the adjustable points that you can have on a machine like this, the better. So being able to control the speed of the fan, being able to control the flow of air through it by having so many valves on there to limit or open up the amount of flow that can go through. All those things matter. But I go into grave detail on this stuff throughout the whole video and then the other videos. But I just want to show enough of this video to get you interested in it, because I think it's very, very important to know.
It's hard to see the flame. It's a pretty clear flame, but what I'll do is I will throw a piece of paper up here, or here I'll grab a leaf. Show you that is definitely on fire. All right, anyhow, that's the gasifier in action.
So now what I want to do is show you some of the applications with this machine. So let me jump over here, and actually, before I show you this, I want to show you the machine running a lawnmower so you can understand what's going on with that. Let me see here. Where do I got it running that lawnmower? Right here, that gas fire running. Okay, so let me bring this up real quick.
All right, y'all. So I've been asked how this gasifier applies to combustible engines. In other words, how can you run a generator or create electricity? So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I just fired this up, and what I did here is I took the old lawnmower out the garage, took the filter off it, so I can get straight to the carburetor. As you can see, this tank is, well, yeah, as you can see, it's bone dry. There's not a drip, not a drop, not a nothing in that tank. It's as empty as it gets. So I hooked up this hose here to my little outlet. So once I've got my flame burning like I want, like that's a good flame out the torch, I'll shut off the valve here, turn on the valve here to pump the gas out here, which is what would be piped into you know, your generator or whatever. But I'm gonna try to run this lawnmower off of this, so give me a minute. It won't start without this because there's no gas. You pull that sucker, it ain't gonna do nothing. But let me go ahead and pipe this back in that carburetor. Yeah, that's already, yeah, it's already a ton of oil. That, boys and girls, lawnmower running off of gas that I'm making out of old mobile grid here. Now, of course, you would need to make your own intake on there so you can control the airflow, the fuel ratio, and all that. But running. Yep. Literally right now, I ain't got enough pressure coming out of it, but this lawnmower is running off of this wood gas coming out of this gas fire straight through the carburetor. You'll see once I pull it out of the carburetor, the lawnmower will stop. See that hand by the car? So as soon as I pull this out, the lawnmower will stop because it's running off of the gas coming out of the end of this. And it's barely pushing. Man, that's so clear you can't even see it. Voila. Gasification, baby.
All right, so now you see what gasification is. This machine is called a gasifier. Now, I obviously don't do anything simple, so I wanted to keep going and keep going with this creation. So what I did is I took that very lawnmower you just seen, and I took the engine off of it, and I built a stand and put a pulley system underneath it, bought a car alternator, mounted the alternator into this pulley system to that lawnmower motor, just the motor, and then ran that alternator and pulley system to a battery system. So runs off of the wood gas, runs the lawnmower engine in turn spins, which in turn turns the pulley, which in turn turns the alternator, which in turn charges the battery. Okay, so that's how you can understand that it will be completely self-sufficient. It needs nothing but biofuel in it. That's it. So let me show you that contraption real quick. All right.
All right, so as you know, I've got this fan plugged in to some outside source of energy. I've been questioned about that, like, well, if it's off grid, well, if you got to be able to plug something in, how's that going to work? Because this is only part of the build. The generator I just built, I'm getting ready to show you, is going to be going to a battery bank that I'm building on this, so it'll be self-sufficient. There will be no need for outside power when we get that done. But until then, let's fire this up. So we're going to crank this fan all the way up. Make sure this air valve up here is off, so it's creating a vacuum inside. I've opened up my intake port. Put my paper in there. We're going to fire this up. So you see that suck right on in there. All right, that fuel's about lit already. We're going to go ahead and close that off. Then deprive that of its oxygen. Come back up top here. Open this valve up, let some air in. We're gonna open it up all the way for now. So what's going on right now? Is this reactor's heating up, sucking the air through, already getting smoke out of here. So we'll give this about 5 minutes to get up to temperature. And then we'll go ahead and fire this up. Once we got this torch burning a nice clean flame, staying on steady, we'll come over here. I'll cut the valve off here that's piping that fuel up to the torch. I'll turn on the valve here that's going to pipe that fuel into this motor, into that intake manifold that I made for this motor. And this valve here is to control the air to fuel ratio, so I can adjust how much air goes in there. In turn, this motor we'll turn this alternator, which will charge the battery setup. So that's the general idea. It's got the pulleys underneath. But we'll let this warm up, and when it's all warmed up, we'll go from there. All right, now we've got this thing up to temp. Smoking good. I don't know if you can see that in the video or not, but we're gonna go ahead and fire up this contraption. So I'm gonna cut this line off so I'm not pumping gas out the torch. Cut this line on, pump that gas straight into the motor here. Turn this on a little bit, get a little bit of airflow. We'll mix that air to fuel ratio as needed.
Doing all that talking, my microphone was muted. Let's try that again. So what you see right here that I haven't talked about, this piece of machinery right here, the reason why I haven't talked about that yet, because it has nothing to do with everything else I got going on. What this is a wood chipper I designed and built to make really fine wood shavings like sawdust, because the idea is to take the sawdust that I make from this, and I can take the sawdust I'm making from this so that I can create my own wood pellets. So the next part of this build is going to be me making a miniature wood pellet mill, so that anywhere I am, anywhere, it doesn't matter where I am, as long as there's some sticks laying around, some wood laying around, I can create my own sawdust and turn that into wood pellets and fuel this machine. And the reason why it doesn't have to be wood pellets, but the reason why I want to continue using wood pellets is because they burn very efficient, very even, very clean, so it makes it work a lot better. But you wouldn't have to use wood pellets. Anyway, so that's what's going on right here with that piece of machinery that you see sitting on the side that I haven't discussed. I've got, if you want to see how I built that and all that, I got videos on all that stuff too.
All right, so she wasn't performing as well as she usually does, so I had to do some investigating. What I found was it had got some moisture inside of the tank. Probably because it was hot yesterday and snow today.
Don't try to click on those links, because that's from the screen I'm recording.
Out and,
it's not going to get you there.
Fresh wood pellets and stuff in there.
All right, so as you can see at the end of this video, it links to the wood chipper build right there, and it also links to a full description video of the build. So I've got several different videos on this, but it was really important to me to bring this to your attention because you know my YouTube channel just itty bitty bitty then. I mean, heck, I wasn't didn't even have enough subscribers to be monetized. So a lot of people have not seen this or caught this content from me because it's so far back. So I want to bring that up to the forefront, not because I want the views on it, which I do. You know, I'd love to get a lot of views on it. I'd love to make some money on that. But the point is because this is needed information. All right, this is the same reason why they don't teach you how to grow your own food anymore. They don't teach you how to how to preserve your own stuff anymore. They don't teach you how to forage anymore. They don't teach you how to create your own energy. This technology is very old, y'all. This is not new stuff, but it's forgotten. It's forgotten ways, you know what I mean? And this is how you survive. This is how you survive through this stuff. So anyway, y'all, I love you. I just want to get this in there. I'll have links as soon as I get done making this video right here. I'll put the actual links that you can click on at the end of this video in about 5 seconds. Love y'all. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.